6:30.
Time to take a look at the top local stories of the day. Christian and Montgomery counties continue to see a spike in COVID cases. The positivity rate for Christian County over the last month is upwards of 17%. The public health department is asking the community to do better when following social distancing measures.
It's another record-setting day when it comes to COVID-19 cases. The state reporting more than 4,500 new ones. That makes more than 336,000 total. The 7-day positivity rate is now 5.1%.
Several people were taken to the hospital after a crash involving 2 cars and a bus in Decatur. It happened this morning at the intersection of Oakland and McKinley. Police say the bus did not properly yield to those cars. The bus driver was ticketed. People of Jewish faith are speaking up after social media platforms remove hate speech.
This week, Facebook made an announcement. It will ban online attacks denying or distorting the Holocaust. Brittany Clemens shows us what this means to a survivor with ties to Central Illinois and his family.
Sharing his story and remembering the pain.
Starving is something that was lived with us every day.
Manfred Katz survived the Holocaust in 1942. He says he didn't suffer for 4 years to be called a liar.
Our names were taken away. We were just a number now. I had to leave my parents. The last time I saw my parents when we were put on a truck, we were taken to a concentration camp.
Monday, Facebook announced it will begin removing Holocaust denials or distortions from its platform. According to Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg, the move is his latest attempt to take action against conspiracy theories and misinformation. Last month, a nationwide survey showed adults under 40 years old had little to no basic knowledge of the Holocaust. In Illinois, 5% of participants noted they have not heard about the Holocaust. The lack of knowledge proven in the study doesn't surprise Manfred's daughter-in-law, Susan Katz.
We have hard evidence that the Holocaust happened. I am appalled that there's still people in our world that try to deny it.
She's the executive director of the Jewish Federation of Peoria. She says stopping anti-Semitism and racism is a battle she will continue to fight.
Groups being discriminated against based on race, based on religion, sexual preference, any of those things, we need to speak up and we need to speak loudly, because that didn't happen in Germany during World War II.
Manfred says soon there won't be any survivors left to tell their truth and pleads to the youth that now's the time to learn history.
Twitter confirmed it's going to start removing posts that deny the Holocaust just 2 days after Facebook implemented the same policy. We have a follow-up. There continues to be a massive backlog to get a FOID card. Right now, people with expired cards have an extension. They have another 18 months after the emergency order is lifted to renew. But that doesn't apply to those applying for new ones. The owner of Personal Firearm Sales and Service says some customers are waiting around 6 months, and it's hard to get a hold of anyone to help.
Since this emergency shutdown order that the governor's issued, I can't get a hold of anybody in the FOID department if I have an issue. If I have an issue, if anything, I have to get a hold of my ATF agent and have him send an email to the state police.
On top of that, it's hard for manufacturers to keep up with demand. Bishop says a lot of guns and ammunition are out of stock.
The Taylorville Police Department got a new squad car thanks to a federal grant. The USDA gave the police department $20,000, and the department bought this new car that'll be used for traffic patrols. That car will remain unmarked and will hit the streets once it gets license plates readers installed. The police chief says Congressman Ronnie Davis helped secure the funding for that vehicle. We have new details tonight. There are hundreds of appointments at the VA in Danville every day, and that's a lot of people trying to get back and forth between the parking lots and buildings. So now the VA is starting a new program to help people. WCIA 3's Andy Olson joins us now. So Andy, what exactly is the VA doing?
Jessica, they're starting to put in motion a shuttle service that will pick up patients and take them to their destination. The VA's campus is 265 acres. Navigating it can be a little anxiety-inducing. They hope these shuttles can make patients' experience easier.
Getting a prime parking spot is a nice feeling wherever you go. But for veterans with movement troubles, getting a prime parking spot may be crucial to getting to an appointment.
You don't get one of the closest parking spaces within 50 feet of the door. You have to park in one of the outer parking spaces. And some of those parking spaces can be up to 100 yards from the building you want to go into.
For some veterans who need to get to their appointments at the VA in Danville, 100 yards can feel like 1,000 yards.
There's some challenges that exist with our veterans navigating to their appointments.
That's what sparked the idea of starting a shuttle service to help their patients get where they need to, and to make every parking spot into a prime parking spot. The VA has had this plan for a while. For a campus so big, having someone take you right where you need to be may save stress and even time.
It goes back to improving that veteran experience, possibly making it a little less scary and taking away some of that anxiety when they come on campus. They don't have to find the location to themselves. They will just identify with that shuttle, and the shuttle driver will take them exactly to the spot that they need to enter our facility.
Some veterans are already looking forward to the chance to use it, because they know the days of bad parking, meaning aches and pains, will be over soon.
I would love to see that because of my bad knees and my bad back. There's some days I struggle to get around, so yes, I would use it.
The shuttle program will launch this upcoming spring. The shuttles they're using will be completely electric, and they'll need a minimum of 10 volunteers to help run them. Jessica?
All right, Andy, thank you. For more information on how you can help and volunteer, you can go to WCIA.com.
The third Friday of October is National Mammography Day, and OSF Healthcare is lit in pink every night to help raise breast cancer awareness. Healthcare workers are encouraging women to get their annual mammogram. Cancer is the second leading cause of death in women in the U.S., and breast cancer usually affects those older than 50. But younger women are getting diagnosed more often. The outpatient physician at OSF says he thinks women should start getting mammograms in their 40s.
For unknown reasons, cancer is striking women at an earlier age, and most breast cancer, if treated early, can be treated successfully without any scarring surgery and with excellent results.
OSF recently got digital mammography, which is up to 90% accurate in detecting early breast cancer.
One Central Illinois school district has been in charge of 300 special education workers, but their employer is about to change.
Plus, it looks like the windy conditions have come back just in time for the weekend. Kevin is also back to let us know what we're in for.
You're watching WCIA 3, your local news leader.
Putting you first. That's just the way we've always done it at Vermilion Chevrolet Buick GMC. From day one, we've been giving you affordable payments, taking time to tailor financing options that fit your budget, making sure we follow up with the best aftercare in the business. Today, we've added time-saving features like pre-approval online. Putting you first is our standard operating procedure. Visit Vermilion Chevrolet Buick GMC or shop from home at vermilionchevrolet.com.
I'm a Democrat.
And I'm a Republican.
These days, we don't see eye to eye on much.
But one thing we do agree on is we don't like to pay taxes.
Especially when the wealthy aren't paying their fair share.
And that's why we both support the fair tax.
Under the fair tax, millionaires and billionaires will be forced to pay more.
And 97% of us will get a tax cut.
When was the last time you heard of something like that?
Getting a tax cut, making the wealthy pay more, that's even something we can agree on.
At Hickory River Smokehouse, order online and skip the line with curbside pickup plus drive-thru. There's nothing better than real Texas barbecue, and no place better to get it than Hickory River Smokehouse. Order online and skip the line with curbside pickup plus drive-thru.
When the pandemic hit, experts were predicting another Great Depression. But Congress stepped up and passed a bipartisan bill to rescue our economy. The Paycheck Protection Program has saved over 50 million American jobs, 2 million in Illinois, at small businesses like this. But it shouldn't take a national crisis for Democrats and Republicans to work together. I'm Rodney Davis. I approve this message because I'm fighting every day to bring both parties together and solve problems for Illinois families.
Friday on the morning show, why doctors say early breast cancer screenings are so important.
And on Monday, how you can help See You at Home raise awareness of homelessness in our area.
Plus, your weather every 10 minutes in Weather on the Threes. We'll see you bright and early at 5 a.m. Monday morning.
This portion of WCIA 3 News is brought to you by Roofs by Roger. Now, Central Illinois' most accurate forecast with meteorologist Kevin Lighty.
All right, well, good evening to you. We've got a lot of weather to talk about. There's a ton going on here. First off, satellite radar pictures showing that the clouds we had today have left us. And it looked like it was going to rain at one point, but no longer the case, as the clouds have, and there were those tiny little sprinkles have left us. You can see temperatures are in the low and mid 50s right now, and it is quite cool across the area. You've got 52 in Lincoln, 55 in Decatur, but that's just the beginning, as temperatures tonight fall back down into the mid 30s after midnight. And yeah, we're talking 35 degrees to start out tomorrow morning. That'll be one of the biggest issues there. We've got to start the day a frost advisory that is in effect here for tonight. We could once again see frost in a few areas. And then on top of that, we throw a wind advisory there. So frost in the morning, then a wind advisory starting around midday and going throughout the afternoon hours because of the wind speeds. Now, these wind speeds are around 10, 15 miles an hour right now, but they are going to shoot up to maybe a 45-mile-per-hour range as we head into tomorrow afternoon. So really strong winds are expected, as you can see, and that, unfortunately, is going to lead to, I think, another day where we may be dealing with some of those field fires and whatnot. Humidity values are very low. That's a key thing there. The drought conditions exist. Everything coming together again. So they've issued a red flag warning. This is exactly what we had on Wednesday when we were telling people, don't do any of the burning out there, okay? And these are ways that you can help out too. Limit grilling in the fire pits, at least for tomorrow. Don't throw the cigarette butts out there. Don't burn the leaves. Tomorrow's just a bad day for all of that. And I'm telling you, those winds are going to mean business. Maybe heading out to Lake of the Woods there, looking pretty good. Just a little windy, 70 for the high temperature. Sunday, though, we bring back the chance for a little bit of rain. And that's great news. We could use it with how dry things have been. But we think Sunday, some showers around later into the evening. And then maybe even still some rain Monday, Tuesday. There are a lot of opportunities for rain showers here, it looks like, next week. And that is quite the pattern change from what we have been used to. At least it's all rain, because in places in northern Illinois may even have to throw in one of those wet snowflakes, believe it or not. Okay, departure from normal. We're all over the place. We're above tomorrow at 70. We're clear down to 52 for a high on Monday, but then we're back up. Look at that as we head towards next week on Thursday, and then we tumble once again. Your high by next Monday may only be around 50 degrees. Okay, for tonight, 35. So let's get through that first off. Frost possible tomorrow morning. 70 degrees, mostly sunny, and extreme fire danger. So watch out for that. Don't forget, you can get the latest on our WCIA3 weather app. So the app there, all ready to go. And if there's any more additional warnings and advisories get issued, it'll tell you everything you need to know there. So go ahead and get that for you. All right, here's a look at the 7-day. So tomorrow, 70. It's nice, but I actually have another 70 showing up, as you can see, towards the end of the 7-day. But it's going to stay chilly. But I've got rain Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. There's the other 70 that's showing up here at 71. But I think, again, tomorrow, major fire danger once again. And unfortunately, we may be dealing with those fires. I know, a lot of people, I've been asked this a lot lately after these fires. They're like, well, why are these fires happening? And, why are the farmers, cleaning off their equipment and all that? And, yeah, I have a lot of people say that. And so there's a lot of, kind of misconceptions about how some of these fires start. Yes, sometimes they're from combines and whatnot, but they have to go out and harvest their corn or whatnot. And it's just, they're still doing what they got to do. They're doing their precautions. But some of these are started by cigarette butts being thrown out and those embers from other things. So tomorrow, just not the day to do any of that.
Yeah, just be careful across the board.
Yep.
All right, thanks, Kevin.
Halloween is usually a chance for kids to parade around in costumes.
But one parade this year was a little more scholarly. We'll show you.
I'm deeply concerned about the tax hike amendment. They claim they're only going to increase taxes on the rich, but if their out-of-control spending tells us anything, they'll be back for more. I don't trust Springfield politicians to be fair to taxpayers. Do you?
News reports revealed the FBI raided the home of Betsy Lonergan's donor, a former lieutenant in Madigan's Machine. She didn't learn her lesson. Instead, she doubled down. With the feds circling in on Mike Madigan, Londrigan established a joint pact with a Madigan-controlled political organization. She just can't help herself. Betsy Londrigan is all about the money. She'll never work for you. Congressional Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
At Mastercraft, we engineer doors that turn houses into homes. From traditional doors that everyone loves to custom doors as unique as you. Open, close, swing, slide, and slam day after day after day. Mastercraft, great doors inside and out, exclusively at Menards.
Get 11% off everything, including Mastercraft doors, now at Menards.
The politicians claim their tax hike amendment won't hurt most families, but that's false. If this passes, there are no restrictions. It's like writing the government a blank check. And I don't believe it's going to stop with the rich. I believe it's going to hit the middle class. Please vote no.
You're a person, not a credit score. But sometimes your score gets in the way of the things you want to do. That's why personal consumer loans through NetCredit are designed to fit real people, like you. Borrow the amount you need, up to $10,000, and choose the repayment terms that work for you. With NetCredit, you may even be able to build your credit history as you repay. NetCredit, a more personal loan. Visit netcredit.com today.
When Jill got sick, you took care of her. You were such a rock star.
You need to get your butt out of this house and start dating. Come on, guys, I can't date with everything that I have going on.
You have nothing going on.
Nothing at all. I'm not going to tell the girls. No, I can't lie to my kids.
That's all I do is lie to my kids. Drive them places and lie.
I got your back. The Unicorn. New season coming soon to CBS.
The news continues here on WCIA 3, your local news leader.
Some changes coming to Decatur schools. 300 staffers will no longer belong to the district.
They all work in special education. An administrative change means their employer will now be the Macon-Pyatt Special Education District. Switching employers will cost Decatur thousands in legal fees. The two groups couldn't see eye to eye on which would continue handling the financials and employing special education programs. Decatur pulled out of the previous agreement back in June.
Students at Cerro Gordo grade school dressed up for a vocabulary-themed costume parade. Their language arts teacher had them choose an interesting vocab word and then turn it into a costume on display for parents to see. One fifth grade teacher says she was thrilled with her students' enthusiasm.
Not surprising for me in Cerro Gordo because it is a community that, they embrace learning, and that is something I really love about this community.
And her costume looks good too. Urquhart is hoping next year they can do it without masks.
It's hard to imagine that election time could get more contentious than it is right now, but that may be the case.
And political passions are nothing new. In fact, it's been the heart of many an argument for as long as this country's been around. You're going to see from the vault.
WCIA 3 News is sponsored by Kramer's Siding and Windows.
Your news every hour in prime time is on News Nation on WGN America. News Nation talked to Michigan's Attorney General after news broke of the alleged plot to kidnap the governor and examined the importance of minorities for COVID vaccine trials.
If I can do this, it's good for me and it's good for everybody else.
News Nation covers your nation every night starting at 8, 7 Central on WGN America. Go to WGNAmerica.com to find WGN America on your cable or satellite provider.
We are residential and commercial roofing that's built to last. We are the solution to your leaky roof problem and a guarantee that with us, it'll never leak again. We are SK Exteriors, installers of quality.
You've heard, it's not what you know, but who you know. And it must be good to know Rodney Davis. His special interest donors sure got lots of perks. And while other businesses waited weeks for COVID relief funds, Rodney Davis's brother got $1 million just 48 hours after he could apply. Then Davis voted to hide the payments from taxpayers. Rodney Davis helps his friends, not you. House Majority PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
This is what the coronavirus has done to our economy. I'm Betsy Dirksen Londrigan. It's going to take a lot of work, but we can bring our cities and towns back. It starts by beating this virus with access to quality, affordable health care for everyone, lower premiums and prescription prices, rebuilding manufacturing here at home, job training programs, and help for local small businesses to create jobs. I approve this message because this is how we get Illinois open for business again.
With people worried about crime, we need Dan Wright as state's attorney. Dan Wright's a proven, tough prosecutor committed to protecting families. That's why Wright's working with police and prosecutors, keeping neighborhoods safe. As state's attorney, Wright's put violent criminals behind bars. Wright's fighting sexual and physical abuse in schools and human trafficking. And Wright helps victims find the justice they deserve. Dan Wright for state's attorney. What we need in tough times.
Hi, beautiful. Look at you.
Have a happy Monday as Rach makes a Superfans Day with a surprise. Plus,
you do this with me?
Dr. Oz checks in. Next, Rachel.
Monday at 3 on WCIA 3. This is WCIA 3 News, your local news leader.
We're just over 2 weeks away from Election Day. It's hard not to notice, especially with all the commercials and yard signs everywhere.
It has been that way for a long time, from Kennedy posters to Perot bumper stickers to Trump MAGA hats. Every candidate has their own unique campaign swag. As our Matt Metcalf shows us tonight from the vault, collecting the swag is part of the fun.
It used to be said that politics was America's favorite contact sport. Political passions are nothing new. Search your mom's attic and you'll probably find an old campaign banner or button. PM Magazine's Steve Traynor came across a unique collection as part of an exhibit of campaign memorabilia. It's from the vault, 1982.
Well, it's that time of year again, election time. Already you're tired of candidate debates and commercials, right? But we never seem to tire of looking back at old campaign memorabilia. The Coles County Historical Society and Eastern Illinois University in Charleston are sponsoring this public exhibit of old campaign items, buttons, banners, and ballots. History professor Dwayne Elbert explains what they have and how they got it.
First of all, we took things out of the collection of the Coles County Historical Society, and then we went out and got some friends in the community who have these things to loan them to us on a temporary basis to make a well-rounded exhibit. We think in terms of the American eagle and the flag, patriotic symbols, the donkey for the Democratic Party, the Republican elephant. It wasn't always that way until the late 19th century. You started out with roosters and raccoons. Lithographs, engravings, and that sort of thing, very important in an illiterate society when people responded to a visual image rather than to the written word. Buttons. Everybody associates a button with a political campaign. Steve, they literally started out as clothing buttons in the election of 1840. Despite the fact that we pin them on our lapel today, we still continue to call them buttons. China and glass, you rarely see this kind of thing in a political campaign today, but it used to be sold in stores. And people could support their favorite candidate, having their friends over for dinner or something like that by having some advertisements on the table. The marching unit that we have is very important because that used to be a way, before we had television and radio, of getting the message out to the people. You couldn't miss a brass band, some torches coming through town at night.
The free exhibit is housed in the Greenwood School Museum at 800 Hayes in Charleston. You can call the Eastern University History Department for exact directions. The exhibit will be open on Wednesdays and Sundays, 1:30 to 3:30 through mid-May.
So save your political swag, right? It too could be exhibit-worthy someday. With this from the vault, I'm Matt Metcalf.
And you can join Matt for a full half hour of the memorable stories of yesteryear. From the Vault airs Sunday mornings at 9 on X49.
It was a rather chilly start to the day before some warmer temperatures rolled in.
So is that the way it's going to be this weekend? Kevin's be back one last time to fill us in.
You're watching WCIA 3, your local news leader.
For over 60 years, wishes have come true at Blaine's Farm and Fleet's original Toyland. This year, Toyland deals will last all weekend long, starting this Saturday at 7 a.m. find great deals on the hottest toys, like this color reveal outdoor Barbie, just $11.99. Fisher-Price launch and loop raceways are $44.99. Hot Wheels die-cast vehicles, 99 cents each. And we're giving away a $3,000 shopping spree to one lucky rewards member. Wishes do come true at Blaine's Farm and Fleet's Toyland, starting this Saturday.
Having reliable internet with MediaCom has been so great for us during these crazy times. It's allowed my husband to continue to work from home without missing a beat. We had our second son during the pandemic, and it allowed us to connect with family members. They've been able to see each of the different milestones through FaceTime calls and Zoom calls, and it's been a very special time every time we get to do that. So thank you to MediaCom.
News reports revealed the FBI raided the home of Betsy Lonergan's donor, a former lieutenant in Madigan's Machine. She didn't learn her lesson. Instead, she doubled down. With the feds circling in on Mike Madigan, Lonergan established a joint pact with a Madigan-controlled political organization. She just can't help herself. Betsy Lonergan is all about the money. She'll never work for you. Congressional Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Putting you first. That's just the way we've always done it at Vermilion Chevrolet Buick GMC. From day one, we've been giving you affordable payments, taking time to tailor financing options that fit your budget, making sure we follow up with the best aftercare in the business. Today, we've added time-saving features like pre-approval online. Putting you first is our standard operating procedure. Visit Vermilion Chevrolet Buick GMC or shop from home at vermilionchevrolet.com.
This is what the coronavirus has done to our economy. I'm Betsy Lonergan. It's going to take a lot of work, but we can bring our cities and towns back. It starts by beating this virus with access to quality, affordable health care for everyone, lower premiums and prescription prices, rebuilding manufacturing here at home, job training programs, and help for local small businesses to create jobs. I approve this message because this is how we get Illinois open for business again.
Hi, beautiful. Look at you.
Have a happy Monday as Rach makes a Superfans Day with a surprise. Plus,
You do this with me?
Dr. Oz checks in. Next, Rachel.
Monday at 3 on WCIA 3.
Restaurants turned to outdoor dining to keep guests coming over the summer, but now the cold weather is here.
That's right. Coming up tonight at 10, what's summer doing to keep you warm and safe as the temperature drops?
Temperature drops tonight. Going to be down to the 30s, but a nice sunny 70 tomorrow. You've got some big time winds. Please don't do any of the birding Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. That's all the rain next week. So maybe by next weekend, things will get a little bit better there. So we'll be watching out for that. But definitely going to be quite windy out there. And are we dancing our way? They were dancing. And
You've just thoroughly enjoyed yourself listening to us.
Oh, it's been girls' hour the whole hour.
It's been so fun.
And I've just been, because it's been 8 months since you guys have been anchoring
together, yeah.
And I've had to listen to it all girls' night. I feel left out.
We'll see you tonight.
Good night, everyone.